Okay, you guys behave now.
Interfering with official government work.
I know, yeah. Well, that's all right. I put the whole
Get out of the picture, Artie.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us here today. My name is Lamar Thorpe, and for our friends in the press, that is LamarThorpe, and I am the mayor of the city of Antioch, and I'm joined by the mayor of Walnut Creek.
And I'm Mayor Kevin Wilk, that's KevinWilk, Mayor of Walnut Creek.
Okay, so the purpose of today is to share some news as it relates to vaccination here in the county, in the city of Antioch, and of course some of the actions some of the bold actions the squeaky wheel. I think your lens is on.
There's that part.
And we're here because of some of the bold actions that the city of Walnut Creek has taken recently as it relates to the frankly skyrocketing rates of coronavirus infections. And so I'll turn it over to Mayor Kevin.
Thank you, Mayor Thorpe. There's some serious numbers that we're looking at now throughout the county. Since the start of the pandemic, 98% of COVID deaths are due to people being unvaccinated. 1.7% of the deaths in Contra Costa County are people that have been vaccinated. And vaccinations for people that have gotten vaccinated, the infection rate has been decreased by 5 times. And for those hospitalized, if you've been vaccinated, that infection rate is decreased by 9 times. And if you're under 65, if you've been vaccinated, you are 14 times less likely to be infected. These are numbers that just can't be ignored. If we look at the age groups that are being infected right now of COVID cases, the number one age group in Contra Costa County that is being infected by COVID are ages 19 to 30. The number 2 is age group 31 to 40. And the third group and the highest group within just the last 30 days are the age group of 5 to 12 years old. Now we need to protect our community. And last week Walnut Creek made an announcement that all employees of Walnut Creek, and this includes contractors as well as volunteers, must be vaccinated as of yesterday. And since that announcement was made, we've seen an uptick of 5% of vaccinations just within the city employees in Walnut Creek. And so I spoke with Mayor Thorpe last week, and I challenged and encouraged him to have Antioch join us and do the same thing and be a leader in the East County, where together we can hopefully challenge and encourage all the cities in Contra Costa County to come along with us, as well as the cities in the Bay Area to join us in getting past this pandemic, moving beyond COVID, and ensuring that we are getting everybody that at least works within the cities vaccinated. Thank you, Mayor Thorpe, for taking this bold action as well.
Okay. As the mayor said, our community is facing renewed challenges with COVID-19 and the rise of the highly contagious Delta variant. We are at a point where the virus is doing what it's expected to do. That's mutate for longevity. But there is a way to prevail. Getting vaccinated is the most effective way an individual can take to survive so that we can all get past the pandemic. Health experts assert that the vaccine is safe, and for those of you that may not know, it's free. It's extremely important to get this life-saving immunization to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and our community so that the spread of the coronavirus can be stopped. In Antioch, the current vaccination rate is 62%. In the last 14 days alone, 804 Antioch residents have tested positive for COVID-19. This is the highest case of rates throughout the county. Antioch is the epicenter of the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic right here, right now. In my opinion, 62% vaccination rate is dangerously low. We can do better. As a city government, if we want our residents to take vaccination seriously, then we must lead by example. Therefore, I will be advancing a measure that aligns with the city of Walnut Creek in mandating COVID-19 vaccinations or weekly testing for city employees, contractors, and volunteers. In addition, I stand with Mayor Wilk on calling on all Bay Area city mayors to advance similar measures that mandate vaccination for city employees in an expeditious manner. As an African American and a Latino, I'm painfully aware of the historic mistrust between our communities and government. There are millions of examples of what government has traumatically inflicted on communities like ours that have helped shape the experience and how we experience our life today. This is having a devastating impact on vaccination rates among African Americans and Latinos countywide. In Contra Costa County, African Americans have a 60% vaccination rate, while Latinos are slightly higher with 68%. But by no means is this a cause for celebration when you compare it to 90% vaccination rate of Asian Americans and other ethnic groups. I'm calling on every African American and Latino in the city of Antioch, and frankly throughout our county and throughout the Bay Area region, to get vaccinated now. Our communities depend on it. We all depend on you to keep us all safe, just as those who have taken the time to get vaccinated, like myself and Mayor Wilk, are doing for you. And so those are my remarks. But I did want to say them in Spanish, so for our Spanish-speaking community members. Nuestra comunidad enfrenta nuevos desafíos con COVID-19, pero hay una manera de enfrentar el COVID-19. Las vacunas para prevenir el COVID-19 es una de las más fáciles acciones que podemos tomar por sobrevivir y superar esta pandemia. Los expertos en la salud afirman que la vacuna es segura y, para los que no saben, es gratis. Es importante obtener esta vacuna que salva vidas para protegernos a nosotros mismos, a nuestros queridos y nuestra comunidad, de modo que se pueda detener la propagación de la coronavirus. En Antioch, la tasa de vacunación actual es del 62%. En mi opinión, esto es peligrosamente bajo. Podemos hacer mejor. Como gobierno de la ciudad, si queremos que nuestros residentes tomen esto en serio, la vacunación, debemos predicar con un ejemplo. Por lo tanto, promoveré una medida igual como la de la ciudad de Walnut Creek, que manda la vacunación COVID-19 o pruebas semanales para todos los empleos, contratistas y voluntarios de la ciudad de Antioch. Además, estoy con el alcalde Wilk a pedir a todos los alcaldes de las ciudades de la área de la bahía que avancen medidas que mandan la vacunación a sus empleados. Como afroamericano y latino, soy conscientemente de la desconfianza histórica entre nuestras comunidades y el gobierno. Hay millones de ejemplos de lo que el gobierno nos ha hecho traumáticamente que han contribuido a cómo vemos y experimentamos al mundo de hoy. Esto está teniendo un impacto a las tasas de vacunación entre los afroamericanos y los latinos en todo el condado. En el condado de Contra Costa, los afroamericanos tienen una tasa de vacunación de 60%, mientras los latinos son un poco más altos con 68%. Pero no es para celebrar en comparación con las tasas de vacunación del 90% de la comunidad asiática y otros grupos étnicos. Hago un llamado a todos los afroamericanos y latinos en la ciudad de Antioch, en el condado y la región de la bahía, que se vacunen inmediatamente para prevenir el COVID-19. So with that, we are finished. Yes, sir.
You speak of the mistrust that community members have.
Yes.
Is there any other reasoning besides the general mistrust of government officials, the government, the vaccination? What other reasons for not getting the vaccine are you hearing, if any?
I think there are also gaps in service. I think you're going to find language barriers in certain communities, particularly in Latino communities. When the pandemic first started, we know it took the county a while to even translate the stay-at-home order. So agencies like the Los Medanos Community Health Care District over there in Bay Point in Pittsburgh had already translated, and we're already on the streets educating members of the community, particularly Spanish-speaking, about the importance of getting masked up and social distancing. We were literally working with ethnic supermarkets who just did not understand. And so we worked with them on doing like the social distancing and the proper markings at their supermarkets. And so there are always going to be gaps, and I think there is a general mistrust, but you and I know that there's a unique mistrust between black people and government. I mean, throughout this pandemic, there isn't a black person I've heard who hasn't talked about the Tuskegee experiments. And so I understand that, but I just want to assure African Americans, Latinos, and everybody, I've been vaccinated. I got vaccinated about 3 months ago. I'm fine, and I don't think it's also helping that conservative news outlets like Fox News are telling people not to get vaccinated or are misrepresenting the truth by saying that more people who are vaccinated are dying from COVID-19. That's not true. That's a bold-faced lie being told by Fox News. And so there are going to be a myriad of instances in which people just have a general mistrust on government and why those gaps exist with vaccination. But I can't express enough the damage that these conservative news sites are doing to our communities because of the misinformation that they're spreading and the hypocrisy in that most of them are vaccinated, telling other people not to get vaccinated.
Last question.
No.
How easy is it in each of your cities to get vaccinated?
Extremely easy in Walnut Creek. In Walnut Creek, we've got multiple sites, there's pharmacies. Again, it's free. And so if you just do a quick search or go into even your local grocery store, they can direct you to exactly where to get vaccinated. It's so easy. And I also want to mirror what Mayor Thorpe had just mentioned about some of the frustration in terms of people getting vaccinated. There is a lot of misinformation that's out there, and some of this misinformation is being provided by conservative sites. I frankly don't understand what the conservative sites are benefiting from doing this, but there's also a lot of misinformation out there from just other media sources, including social media. And unfortunately, what happens is that people tend to self-select the media that most often mirrors their own bias. And so they're not getting two pictures of the story, and they're not getting the other side of the discussion. And it is reprehensible. And I really want to stress that it's reprehensible that people would be putting any sort of doubt into other people's minds of trying to either not get vaccinated or not wear masks. I mean, I can only take it that if you are out there protesting against vaccinations and masks, that you're on the side of COVID. We all want to put COVID behind us, and we want to be able to move on with our lives and have the social aspects of life that we experienced up until about March of 2020. And so if you are one of these people that is spreading misinformation, please stop. Get the research from trusted media sources. Talk to your doctors, and please get vaccinated, and we can move on with life.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I'm just going to say hi. I'm Judy.
Hi, Judy.
Judy
Kevin.
Creedy from